Fleet, align on the Dreadnought. Prepare for planetary approach.
Dreadnought is moving. All ships responding.
The arrival of the Zenthari fleet. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars burned like eternal sentinels and nebulae swirled in silent chaos, Commander Vex'lar of the Zenthari Empire surveyed the galaxy from the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Fury. Vex'lar was a veteran of 100 conquests, his chitinous exoskeleton scarred from battles against lesser species across the Orion Arm. The Zenthari were the apex predators of the stars, tall, insectoid beings with multifaceted eyes that pierced through deception, mandibles that clicked in rhythmic precision, and a hive mind discipline that made their armies unstoppable. They had subjugated worlds with overwhelming force, their plasma cannons reducing civilizations to ash before the inhabitants could even comprehend their doom. But this new target was different. Earth, a blue-green marble orbiting a modest yellow star, had caught the Empire's attention through intercepted signals, primitive radio waves babbling about unity, exploration, and something called democracy. The Zenthari High Council deemed humanity a nascent threat, their rapid technological ascent a blight that needed excision. They are divided, squabbling primates, the Council had decreed. Crush them swiftly and claim their resources for the hive. Vex'lar's fleet was immense, 50 dreadnoughts, each bristling with energy shields and fusion torpedoes, supported by swarms of fighter drones and legions of ground troops cloned in the Empire's biovats. As the fleet dropped out of hyperspace on the edge of Sol's system, Vex'lar's mandibles twitched in anticipation. Scan for defenses, he ordered, his voice a resonant hum echoing through the neural link to his officers. The scans revealed a patchwork of satellites, a few orbital stations, and what appeared to be rudimentary warships, nothing compared to Zenthari might. Humanity's military was fragmented, spread across nations with names like United States, China, Russia, and others that blurred into irrelevance. They have nuclear arsenals, reported his tactical officer, a young Zenthari named Krixtor. Primitive fission devices, but numerous. Vex'lar dismissed it with a wave of his clawed appendage. Irrelevant. Our shields will absorb such barbarism. Prepare the invasion force. We strike their moon base first, Luna, they call it, to establish a foothold. The assault began with clinical efficiency. Zenthari dropships pierced Earth's atmosphere, targeting key military installations. Plasma bolts rained down on silos in remote deserts, vaporizing missiles before they could launch. Cities trembled as orbital bombardments softened defenses. Vex'lar watched from the bridge, his eyes reflecting the firestorms below. Humanity will kneel, he murmured. But then, the anomaly started. In the skies over Europe, Zenthari fighters encountered swarms of human jets, sleek machines that darted with impossible agility. They are evading our locks, Krixtor reported, confusion lacing his hum. One fighter, a human F-35, unleashed a barrage of missiles that curved mid-flight, guided by invisible hands. A Zenthari drone exploded in a blossom of debris. Adapt frequencies, Vex'lar commanded. Yet, as the battle unfolded, he noticed something unsettling. The humans weren't fighting like a hive. They were chaotic, unpredictable. Squadrons broke formation, improvised maneuvers that defied logic. A single human pilot, callsign Ghost, weaved through a squadron of 10 drones, using the wreckage of one to shield against another's fire. How? Vex'lar whispered that on the ground, it was worse. In the frozen tundras of Siberia, Zenthari troops, armored behemoths with energy rifles, advanced on a human outpost. The air crackled with plasma fire, but the humans didn't charge en masse. Instead, they vanished into the snow, emerging like phantoms to strike from shadows. One Zenthari squad leader reported, they use traps, wires that ensnare, explosives buried in ice. A detonation ripped through the ranks, shrapnel-piercing exoskeletons designed to withstand laser blasts. Vex'lar leaned forward, his compound eyes narrowing. Primitives with cunning. Intriguing. But as reports flooded in, the intrigue turned to unease. In the deserts of the Middle East, human forces employed guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run ambushes that bled the invaders without committing to open battle. A Zenthari battalion, expecting a straightforward siege, found their supply lines severed by night raids. They fight dirty, Krixtor said, his voice trembling. No honor in their warfare. The commander accessed the neural archives, recalling past conquests. Every species had broken under Zenthari doctrine: overwhelm, assimilate, dominate. But humans thought they adapted. In the Pacific, naval fleets clashed. Zenthari cruisers unleashed barges that should have sunk human carriers in minutes. Yet, submarines, silent hunters beneath the waves, torpedoed from below, exploiting blind spots in alien sensors. As the first day ended, Vex'lar tallied the losses. Minimal for the Empire, but unprecedented. They delay the inevitable, he told his officers. Press on. Target their leaders. Unbeknownst to him, humanity was rallying. In hidden bunkers, generals from rival nations conferred via encrypted links. The aliens think we're weak because we're divided, said General Harlan of the U.S. Joint Chiefs. But that's our strength. We improvise. We innovate. Plans were drawn. Asymmetrical warfare, cyber intrusions, even biological contingencies. The world united not in hive-like obedience, but in defiant chaos. Vex'lar retired to his quarters, reviewing holofeeds. A captured human transmission played. We will not go quietly into the night. His mandibles clicked thoughtfully. What terrors lay ahead? The shadows of deception. As the invasion entered its second phase, Commander Vex'lar orchestrated a massive push toward Earth's major population centers. The Zenthari fleet formed a blockade, cutting off reinforcements from the outer colonies, Mars outposts, and asteroid mines that humanity had barely begun to exploit. Isolate them, Vex'lar ordered. Force surrender through starvation. But humanity didn't starve. They struck back in ways the aliens couldn't fathom. In the urban sprawls of New York, Zenthari ground forces encountered resistance not from armies, but from civilians. Skyscrapers became fortresses, windows bristling with improvised weapons, Molotov cocktails hurled from above, snipers picking off officers with precision rifles. They armed their workers? Krixtor exclaimed, watching a feed where a human taxi driver rigged his vehicle with explosives, ramming a Zenthari walker. Vex'lar's unease grew. Zenthari warfare was symmetrical. Fleets clashed, legions marched. Humans blurred lines, soldiers posed as refugees, luring patrols into kill zones. In Africa, savannas burned with napalm traps set by local militias. A Zenthari division, expecting open combat, was decimated by hidden artillery, shells arcing from miles away guided by drones no larger than insects. The commander delved deeper into human history via captured data cores. World Wars, he read, mandibles agape. Trenches filled with gas, blitzkriegs of armor, atomic firestorms. They wage war on themselves? It explained their resilience, survivors of self-inflicted apocalypses. Cyber warfare emerged as a nightmare. Zenthari systems, thought impenetrable, flickered with anomalies. Human hackers, ghosts in the machine, infiltrated neural links, feeding false data. A dreadnought fired on its own fighters, believing them hostile. Sabotage from afar, Vex'lar growled. He isolated networks, but humans adapted, using viruses that evolved like living organisms. In space, the terror intensified. Human astronauts in powered suits boarded a Zenthari frigate, cutting through hulls with plasma torches stolen from fallen foes. Inside, they fought hand to claw, using zero gravity to their advantage, propelling off walls, wielding knives against energy blades. One human, wounded and bleeding, detonated a grenade in close quarters, taking a squad with him. Kamikaze, the archives called it. Self-sacrifice for victory. Vex'lar witnessed a pivotal battle over the Indian Ocean. Zenthari carriers deployed swarms, but human submarines surfaced, launching hypersonic missiles that pierced shields through sheer velocity. They overload our defenses with saturation, Krixtor analyzed. Waves of cheap drones distracted, while precision strikes hit vital points. On the ground in Asia, mountains echoed with guerrilla echoes. Human forces used terrain, caves, rivers, forests, as weapons. Zenthari troops, relying on tech, faltered in mud and rain. They endure, Vex'lar noted. A captured human soldier, under interrogation, laughed. You think this is bad? Try Stalingrad. The commander's dreams haunted him, visions of endless human waves, not in unity, but in furious individuality. Each fighter a wild card, unpredictable. Losses mounted, not catastrophic, but erosive. The hive's discipline cracked. Some officers questioned the cost. Yet Vex'lar pressed on. We adapt as they do. Deploy the bioplagues. Engineered viruses to cull the population. But humans had vaccines, countermeasures from their own pandemics. The plagues backfired, mutating harmlessly. This part closed. Vex'lar stared at Earth from orbit. They are not beasts. They are demons, the fury unleashed. The war's third act saw humanity's tactics evolve into outright horror for the Zenthari. Commander Vex'lar, now scarred by doubt, unleashed the Empire's reserves, elite shock troops, orbital lasers, even psychic disruptors to shatter human morale. Break their spirit, he commanded. But human spirit proved unbreakable. In Europe, ancient castles became redoubts, booby-trapped with modern twists, laser tripwires, AI-guided turrets. Zenthari assailants fell into pits lined with spikes, reminiscent of medieval sieges, but amplified by tech. They draw from history, Krixtor observed, horrified. Nuclear escalation loomed. Humans launched ICBMs not at ships, but at atmospheric entry points, creating EMP bursts that fried electronics. Zenthari vessels plummeted, shields offline. They weaponized their own sky, Vex'lar hissed. In the Americas, jungles swallowed invasions. Human special forces employed psychological warfare, broadcasting screams of dying Zenthari, using holograms to mimic larger forces. One unit, the Ghost Brigade, left no survivors, carving symbols into exoskeletons as warnings. Space became a graveyard. Human privateers, corporate mercenaries in retrofitted freighters, harassed supply lines, using asteroid fields for cover. They boarded, looted, and scuttled, turning Zenthari tech against them. Vex'lar interrogated a captured general. Why fight so viciously? The human smirked. Because we can. Adapt or die. That's evolution. The commander recoiled. Zenthari evolution was controlled, not this feral adaptability. Biological horrors emerged. Humans released modified viruses targeting Zenthari biology, reverse-engineered from corpses. Troops convulsed, exoskeletons cracking. They turn our dead into weapons, Krixtor wailed. Climactic battles raged. Over Antarctica, where humans used icebreakers as rams. In orbit, where satellite swarms formed Kessler cascades, debris fields shredding fleets. Vex'lar's fleet dwindled. We must retreat, advisors urged. But pride held him. One final assault. The reckoning and revelation. In the war's finale, Commander Vex'lar gambled everything on a decapitation strike, targeting Earth's United Command in a fortified bunker under the Rockies. The Dominion's fury descended, supported by remaining forces. Humans anticipated it. As dropships landed, the ground erupted, volcanic charges from deep mines. Zenthari were buried alive. In the bunker, leaders orchestrated the counter. Orbital mirrors reflecting sunlight into death rays, frying invaders. Solaris Protocol, they called it. Vex'lar beamed down personally, leading the charge. Halls echoed with gunfire. Humans fought room to room, using furniture as barricades, chemicals as improvised gas. Cornered, Vex'lar faced a human squad. Surrender, their leader said. But Vex'lar fought, claws rending. Yet humans swarmed, relentless. Defeated, captured, Vex'lar was shown holos of Zenthari defeats. Fleets routed by kamikaze drones. Ground forces ambushed by child soldiers. No, volunteers. Why, he asked. The human replied. Because we're human. We don't just survive, we thrive on chaos. The fleet retreated, Vex'lar a prisoner. From his cell, he witnessed humanity's reconstruction. Faster, stronger. Terrifying, he wrote in his final log. Not their weapons, but their will. Earth stood victorious, a beacon of defiance. The galaxy whispered of humans, the unbreakable.